Right, so I'm going to show you some basic tools that I use for making the forming the Kydex stuff. This is only basic bits, but this will get you going, and also any bits which I think you can substitute for other things, then I'll show you. So these are just the basics, and some of them you don't necessarily need and you can use other things. So I'll kind of go through it in order of how you'd do it, if you know what I mean. So you'd have your Kydex sheet, so a ruler. They reckon a metal one's good, but this does me, and all I've done to this is I've put a bit of duct tape on the back, and I'll show you why that is. So I found with a plastic ruler on the Kydex, it moves around easy. You don't want that, so I'll put the duct tape on, and it seems to hold better, if you know what I mean. You know, you're drawing a line, you don't want it to kind of be moving over like that as you're doing it. Right, so ruler for measuring out any bits, whatever. And a pencil. I do have with the pencil, I would normally have a rubber as well, because you can rub out, or an eraser, rub out any markings you've done on it afterwards. Then I would use either a Stanley knife. Obviously you can use a bigger one than this, but I've got loads of blades for these, so I'll use this little one. Stanley knife for scoring and cutting your Kydex, or I use tin snips as well. Tin snips are better if you're cutting like big rough bits off and you're not too bothered, you know, you're going to sand it down or shape it quite far past where you've cut it with these. If you're getting big bulky bits or cutting bits in half, tin snips are good. And then it would be the heat gun. Now a heat gun or some sort of heat source, that's going to be vital. You know, you could probably replicate a few other things, you know, a straight bit of wood, you know, and put some markings on for whatever. And you know, you could use a normal knife, and you could use a saw for cutting the Kydex. But some sort of heat source, that's vital. So I use a heat gun, and it always seems to work for me. I've heard of people using toaster ovens, their normal oven at home, and all sorts of things, to, you know, right up to t-shirt presses and stuff like that. But a heat gun will get you going. So with the heat gun, you're going to need then to use a press. And this is the press I made. Right, I'll explain how I've done this one. Obviously it's 2 flat planks of wood, 2 small bits here which are roughly the same size as this foam, and then just a hinge. But what I've done is the top one has been stuck into place and the bottom one is loose, but I also have a piece of wood as well. And these are what they call kneeler pads, for like using in gardening. I've got another one, it's the same thing. I did have a bit around. I've got a little offcut of the other one here. That's part of it. I haven't actually used this one yet, but I've cut it ready. Obviously, you know, it was like, this is like the end part of it, like that. But you can buy bits of foam in it. So top one is stuck on, the bottom one is loose, so that I can slot a bit of wood in, or maybe 2. And that is for, what I found was, when I was making it before, if I was going to make a knife sheath, I'll stick the knife in and then put the top bit on. This wasn't glued on, put the top bit on, trying to do it, but it just seemed more hassle. So I thought it's better to just have the top one stuck on. And the reason why the bottom one isn't is for the bit of wood. So if I've got something like quite a fat knife and it's got to go in, I'll just do it like this. You see how it closes up alright? Yeah. But if I'm doing one and it seems quite a thin knife or something thin, I'll slot a few of these in just to make it slightly tighter when you press it together. Now, you could use, I don't think this one fits on it, you could use clamps with this, but to be honest, what I normally do is I put the knife in and then I just sit on it. I just either leave it on the small table or on the chair and then just sit on it, and that seems to work. So that's the press. Only a small one, just for small knives. If you're going to make bigger stuff, you're going to need a bigger press. And then, like I said, to go with that, clamps and things like that. And then I have various other weird bits of wood and stuff. I've got more than this somewhere, right? Oh, that's another one. And these are just templates. So that's the tin holder front bit. So I'll put that down on the Kydex, mark that out, cut that out. I know that's going to work. And that's the tin holder belt loop. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to cut this out. I know that's going to work. And what this is for making belt loops. Now what I would do, well, not just belt loops actually, any kind of things, but this has got a part for the belt loop. If you see, I don't know if you can see, but there's a gap underneath there. And what I would do is I'd get my bit of Kydex, heat it up. I'll just show you with a piece of sandpaper. Just imagine this is the Kydex. I'll heat the Kydex up. I'll slot it underneath there so it's sticking out a bit. Sticking out a bit here. This is while it's hot, and then I'd pull this up, and then that's for a 1.5 inch belt, and I'd put that there, fold it over and get another bit of wood with a straight edge on it, and then press that down like that. Maybe another one on top, and that's a nice easy way of making belt loops. But this can be used for other things. Say for example, holder for a shotgun shell matchbox. I would get that, heat the Kydex, wrap it round, press it hard against here so it doesn't roll away, because it wants to roll away, and then get, say, a piece here like this, and then just hold it like that, pressing against there, and it gets it nice and tight. So that's what that is. And then you just various little blocks of wood for things with a straight edge on it. Lots of different ones. Like I said, this is just basic Kydex stuff. You can go really detailed, making jigs and forms and stuff like that. So that's that. So the next thing you'd probably need is a drill. And plenty of different size drill bits. I've just got normal drill bits, whereas you can get, I can't remember what they're called, but they've got, like woodworking ones, got a little bit sticking out the tip. But I've found all sorts of different drill bits will do Kydex perfectly fine. That's going to be pretty vital, something to drill holes. So then I normally, if I can't cut it with tin snips, I then cut the shape or whatever with a coping saw. But all sorts of different things, you know, people use bandsaws, but if you ain't got a bandsaw, coping saw or whatever, or you could score it again, you could score it with a Stanley knife, break it off, score it. Then I would then use, after done that, Dremel with varying different tips. But if you haven't got a Dremel, you don't necessarily need one. You could get away without it by using stuff like files and things like this, sandpaper or abrasive paper which is stuck onto blocks. And what I do with this, sometimes I'll only do the rough shaping with the Dremel, and then say get the sheath, glue the abrasive paper onto something, and then just kind of work it like this. And because you know it's stuck to this, it's going to stay there. It's going to stay flat. And you'll be surprised how quick you can get good smooth surfaces with stuff like that. So files and abrasive paper could replace a Dremel, but I must admit this is pretty quick with a Dremel. You drill for drilling the holes and the shaping, and then and if I'm using a Dremel, I use safety glasses because I have had plastic in my eye and that was pretty painful. So the next thing would probably be then onto kind of all your hardware and stuff. Well, this is kind of, you know, you could do a whole video on this kind of stuff, but I was kind of show you the basics what you'd need. So I've got, this is just different bits in here. That's Kydex eyelets, and then I've got a setting tool and like your anvil part, and then the next tool you're going to need is a hammer. But you need to get the relevant eyelets, the relevant setting tool, and also I've got in here stuff like these O-rings, rubber O-rings, different size eyelets, some more eyelets there, Chicago screws, these little mini screws, and round slotted nuts to go with them, lots of mini eyelets and all sorts of other bits like Chicago screws and stuff like that, and I've got some normal kind of bolts and stuff in there. So I suppose essentially that is pretty much it. Oh, the only thing I've missed is like masking tape. There's a few different types and a lot of people use this blue one, but I've used this and it seems to work fine. And that's for, if you don't have to always do this, because I've done this a couple of times and wish I didn't actually do it. When you make your sheath, you could put a couple of layers of masking tape over your blade around your handle, just to take, like, just create a small little gap so it isn't so tight and doesn't scratch your blade. But I find it doesn't anyway. Well, not, you know, not me personally. So masking tape, and then I suppose the last thing you're going to want after all of that is back to sandpaper again. I have got these loose leaf buffing wheels, because what some people do, they put one of them buffing wheels in the Dremel, and if you go over the ends of Kydex with it, it can bring it up to a really high, like shiny smooth surface. But to be honest, you can sometimes get it good like that just by rubbing it on sandpaper and then rubbing it on cloth anyway. So you don't that's another thing you don't necessarily need. So any other bits, I have got other stuff like loads of different drill bits, loads of Dremel bits, but you know, you get the idea of that. You're going to need different bits and all that. So that's basic tools for doing Kydex. Like I said, loads of people go way different to this and have loads, you know, band saws, belt sanders. I suppose if you're going into big production, you might as well, or you want to make things as easy as possible. But this will do it. I've made plenty of sheaves, and you can make them quick as well, even with just this kind of stuff. So Anyway, I'll show you some of the stuff I've made recently as well. I'll do a bit of video about that. Right, cheers for watching, and I'll see you later.